All right, vocabulary number 1. To have a good ear. To be particularly good at listening to and then repeating music, poetry, or foreign languages. So even though some singers don't really have good ears, they can still sing in tune, thanks to the technology of autotune. So what they mean by in tune is the right note. Okay, so earlier Soo-young played some music, and the lady wasn't really in tune, right? We call it like off pitch. Right, so you want to sing like do re mi, but you like do re mi, like that's kind of off pitch, right? So people who have a good ear, maybe they hear a song, and then they can play it on guitar right after. Like, oh, I think I can, and they figure it out, right? They have a good ear. Okay. Next, to come down to. This is kind of similar to boil down to. Have you heard that before? Okay. So it means essentially or basically. Like maybe the boss has a big meeting at work and they're talking for 1 hour. And they say, okay, what this speech comes down to is everybody needs to work as a team, right? So there's a lot of stuff and it comes down to the basic level, right? So let's look at the example. No matter what you do to be happy, it all comes down to where your heart is. So they say, no matter what you do to be happy, it's basically about what you love to do. That's kind of what it means, right? Or, yeah. And a similar phrase, just FYI, is it all boils down to, right? So if you imagine you have some kind of, let's say soup, right? Or something in the water. You boil it, it will evaporate. And at the very bottom, there's only some things left, right? So that's what's actually in the soup, right? So it's just like beef bones, right? It all boils down to beef bones. That's what the soup really is. Okay, does that make sense? So maybe learning English all boils down to open-mindedness and practice, right? Next, pliable. Pliable means capable of learning something easily. Children aged 3 to 7 have the most pliable brains. It means flexible, it absorbs, right? Sometimes people want like pliable wood that's flexible or something, right? Yep, so pliable, easily changed and adaptive, can learn well. Next, tonal shift. Tonal is kind of like tone, right? A change in tone or pitch in music or language. Only a few are gifted to easily recognize tonal shifts. Chinese is a tonal language, right? So basically it just means a change in tone, tonal shift. Number 5, socialite. A socially prominent person. She is a well-known socialite, so she gets to be invited in big events in the city. Soo-young, that singer that you're talking about, she might have been a bit of a socialite, right? She wasn't actually a good singer, but she's popular in the media or popular among other popular people. Speaking of another heiress, some famous people, like in USA celebrities, they're not really good at anything. They're just socialites. So one, Paris Hilton, right? She's kind of nothing, right? Her brain is kind of like empty, right? Anyways, I'm not trying to be mean, but she's kind of a socialite. She's not like a good actress or a good anything, just a socialite. Not everybody's only a socialite, but I mean, that's kind of an example. Who's kind of a socialite in Korea? Just like super popular in all the TV shows. They do movies all the time. They're interviewing for stuff. Nobody comes to mind? Okay. Or maybe one of your friends. They're always at the parties. They're always talking to people. By the way, ite is kind of a suffix for person, right? So like a soul light is somebody who lives in Seoul, right? Have you heard that word before?
Yeah.
Soul light? Yeah. It's not for every place, like you don't say, American night, okay? But just some words we use ITE for person. Number 6, turn out to be found to be after some experience or trial, right? So the most quiet student in my class turns out to be the wackiest as well. Wacky means weird or strange or crazy. Sometimes that happens. I know, like in my school, sometimes like the really quiet girl in high school later turns out to be like a party animal, right? It's like, whoa, like she's doing crazy stuff. Like I thought she was so quiet and nice, right? Turns out she's actually a wild person, right? We had a dog when I was a kid. She died now, but anyways, when my mom and dad bought her, they went to look at the puppies, and this dog was alone and just really quiet. The other puppies were running around making noise, and mom and dad said, wow, we want that one. It looks so kind and calm. And so we bought that dog, that puppy, and named her Angel. But it turns out that she was kind of wild, and she's always killing a baby rabbit or doing some other stuff, right? Like, oh my gosh, she's not an angel, right? Turns out she's really wild and, she's nice to us, but turns out she's not an angel, right? Number 7, underlying, basic or fundamental. The underlying reason for this problem is your laziness. Okay, maybe you go to the doctor and you say, oh, doctor, I'm really tired. I just have no energy at work. I'm not happy. I fight with my boyfriend or girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. And the doctor, they listen to many things. They ask you, oh, how many hours do you work? Or what about this? What about that? And they say, the underlying cause for all these problems is maybe stress, right? Or you don't sleep enough, right? That's the underlying problem for everything, right?